70% would have an opinion about that they are Hungarians, and 30% those cosmopolites or international, etc. If you would ask the Hungarian minority in the CU where you were based, I mean, their answer would be the opposite. 70% they are citizens of the world, and 30% I mean are localists, let's call it.
Yes, but at CU actually with Hungarians I had relations only with those who were studying at CU. They were not many. But
yeah, but no, I mean
yes, but what I want to say, what was systematic on national studies department, on gender studies department, on economic studies department, whom I know that they were Hungarians, exclusively through different perspectives, economics, nationalist, history, gender, they were writing about Transylvania exclusively. All of them.
That's
Therefore,
an industrial story. That's fashion and that conjuncture.
It's fashion or it's something memory and ethnicity matter that it's our land and we
it's
should
not
keep
our
it.
land.
No, it's not yours now, but
no, but I mean they are. I'm not speaking about a person who's writing dissertations on that, but. Transylvania is a very complex issue. Transylvania, you have 8 million people now, and from these 8 million, 1.5 million are Hungarians. I mean, they are the important element, and their history is the history of the land, etc. But you know, even the official Hungarian history is far. Of course, the official Hungarian history, even the progressive one, is not falsifying the Transylvanian history, but somehow offering it under a very special year. Let's say we have a big Renaissance king of Mátyás of the 15th century. I mean, let's say he is the Tsaritsa Tamara for the Hungarians. And of course, I mean, each Hungarian prudeness is related to him. But he was a Romanian. I mean, his father, I mean, absolutely well known, I mean, described 100 times, that he is from a Transylvanian Romanian family, that his father, a low-rank Romanian, not aristocrat, but a low-rank noble, was a self-made man, and he was a military man, and he became a governor of Hungary, and the whole of Hungary, and then he made a king from his son. And the Corvinus were Romanians. But if you ask, I mean, it's well known for every specialist. It's not dissident historianship. It's a basic fact what you can read in any handbook in the last 300 years. But if you ask a Hungarian, is Mátyás a Romanian? They would be very widely looking at you and telling that you are, I mean, you are, I don't know, a dirty type, and etc., etc. Or Budapest, or Pest and Buda, they were German cities until the late 19th century. The famous Hungarian Revolution of 48, I mean 1848, with Petőfi, etc., happened in a day when they had bazaar and the peasants from the countryside came to the city for any Hungarian action, because the city was German-speaking, and even the famous 15 points of Petőfi, revolutionary manifesto, etc., was printed, which he was reading in Hungarian, and he wrote it in Hungarian. The same day was printed in German for the locals. You should understand what the hell is going on. About that, you know, if you are a historian, again, it's not secret, it's, I mean, absolutely well-known fact, but if you expel it to somebody, I mean, they're looking at you, I mean, in a wide way. In the 18th century, so, I mean, late 18th century, Pest was a big German city, and they had a big German theater, which was very fancy, and they were playing the same pieces what every German theaters were playing. It was no Hungarian theater in the city at all, not because they were oppressed, it was no market for it. And then, because then when the small Hungarian nobles were moving into the city, then you had a market for Hungarian theater, and 50 years later they created a Hungarian theater which they were calling a national theater. It was national because this theater was not national. If you are asking a Hungarian university diploma holder about the German theater in Budapest, nobody knows about it. Again, it's not secret, there are monographs, there are books, it's not forbidden to speak about it. There is, I mean, just you have a very special 19th, 20th century selective memory.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know, the significant part of the, nationally assimilated Germans in the 19th century became Hungarians, and the significant part of the Hungarian, the founders of the 19th century, reconstruction of the Hungarian culture, they are just ethnic Germans with German names. Some were changing their names into Hungarian, some had a German name. There is a guy who wrote the national opera of the 19th century. This is the national opera. And if you ask a Hungarian, in Hungarian, his name is Erkel Ferenc. A very broadly distributed cultural heritage. And actually he's Franz Erkel, and he's a German who wrote this Hungarian national piece. He's very often even in anti-German style. And if you ask the Hungarians, is Franz Erkel a German? No, he can't be. And so on and so on. So in that sense, there are, you can ask every Hungarian about the Hungarian Nobel Prize winners living in America. Hungarians are very proud of that. With the exception of one, all they are Jewish. But the Hungarians, who are very often these nationalist anti-Semites, they are not handling, if they are Nobel Prize winners, then they are not, they should be Hungarians. And they left the country because they were fed up with the Hungarian anti-Semitism, and so they went to America. But anyhow, as long as they are becoming famous, they are accepted as national heroes. However, there is a guy an Israeli, who left a Hungarian village 50 years ago, 60 years ago, became a famous chemist somewhere in Israel, and 3 years ago received the Nobel Prize for chemistry. I don't remember his name. He has no Israeli name. And nobody knew about him in Hungary. Why should somebody new and unknown, well-known maybe, Israeli chemist, but if you're not a chemist, it's not your business. He got Nobel Prize. In a few weeks he became, the Academy of, the Hungarian Academy of Science was electing him as a honorary member. He was invited to give a keynote in Budapest, so he arrived. Naturally, his Hungarian was the Hungarian of a level of a village boy of 5 years old, because then he left the country and became, a man, a scientist, an international scientist, not here. And then they were playing that game, yes, or big Hungarian Nobel Prize winner, and he was just watching, he was not saying anything, but it was quite clear that his family left the country, he was not educated, he was not using the language. He was happy then if a foreign academy is inviting him to give a keynote lecture. But so in that sense, you have very selective memory. That's what I want to say. Yeah. And Transylvania is a very special game, because in the 80s it was again a game which I was playing. In the 80s, you had Ceausescu in Romania. Transylvania, it was a horrible regime. You could not imagine, the first Soviet Union was much better than the regime of Ceausescu. So you cannot imagine, and it has nothing to do with the communist ideals in a way. It was just a brutally nationalist and inhuman regime. Without heating, without bread, with unbelievable queues for bread, but the worst was that, by the way, there is a movie which is a Romanian movie which got the Golden Palm in this year in Cannes. Last year in Cannes. It was received as the big movie. It's called, maybe you can hear it in the videotapes. It's called 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 days, and I don't know how many seconds. So 4-2, etc. You know, or you saw it. So it's about a young woman who